So everyone, welcome to part 2 of our neutral eyeshadow technique. Today would be mostly you all working and me just helping you all go through what you need to work on. So I'll be looking on most of the time. My model will be here shortly. I already started her face. Are you all hearing me clearly? It's raining, so I want to make sure you're hearing me clearly. Good. So we're going to be going through, now I'm not going to be going through the steps with the eyebrows and the foundation because we already covered that. I would be, however, covering the concealer because a lot of you all still need some work. You all picked up the foundation technique quite good. And with the majority of you all, I'm very, very, very pleased by the results that I'm seeing. But some of you all still need some assistance with the concealer application as well as the eyeshadow technique. Yes. So we would not be doing brows and stuff. Let me just see average by a show of hands. How many of you all still need to? Yes, there's a fan close by. You're not hearing? How about now? Oh, it's probably the rain. It's better now. Okay. All right. Great. No, I told this. Yeah. So, what was I saying? Right. So we covered foundation. We covered eyeshadow. We covered basic eyeshadow that is neutral look, but you also still need some assistance with that. And I'm not sure how many of you all will have gone back into the LMS to view the video. Yes, by a show of hands. This one I get an average in terms of ratio. How many persons are barefaced right now and need to apply their foundation and their brows? So, let me give you all some time. Is everybody? All right, so only 13 of you all have some more hands going up. All right, so what I'm going to do, all right, let me just get an average before I start. Very good, Karishma. All right, so while I'm speaking, I would like those whose face is bare to get cracking. Kimber, girl, we are on the same boat. Hence the reason I'm not wearing any makeup. The Sahara dust is really taking a toll on me. I am usually very much affected by it. So last couple of days has been really testing for me.
Yes, Miss, I just stepped out for a little while this morning and that was it. I started to itch.
There was a really, really, really bad surge last night. So I don't really, that affects me really badly. I'm not asthmatic, but it just affects my sinus really bad. So it gives me really bad migraines. So yeah. So whoever else is affected by the Sahara dust, you all just be careful. Drink a lot of hot fluids and try to stay indoors. And drink a lot of water. Yes, so today we're going to be doing, as I was saying before, we're going to be doing foundation, but not foundation, concealer, setting. We're going to go through the eyeshadow technique again. We're going to be doing contouring, blush, and highlight. So if you take your hands down now, let me lower it. Right. Good. Fawn. Actually, no. If the fawn is too light for you, the toffee is even lighter. So if it is you are changing, if you want something darker than fawn, you should go with chestnut or probably toast might be too dark. Do you want to put your camera so I can see your complexion? Tasha, let me see your skin tone so I can tell you what shade might work for you.
That's not the still.
But by my profile picture, fawn is actually very good. You say just now. It's different. These days it's really bad. All right, so while we wait on Tasha, you have 10 minutes. So by 3:30, your eyebrows and stuff should be done. Eyebrows, foundation. Remember to cleanse, tone, moisturize. I'm also going to, those who have the color correct, do so before you apply your foundation. So you're color correcting after you prime, but before you do your foundation. Also, I want to show you all I promised to show you all how I mix my calamine lotion and the moisturizer, so you'll have an idea. You ready to spotlight, Tasha?
Yes, miss.
All right, let me see. Chestnut might be a little close to your skin, but you could try it. What are you using around your brows?
I just use warm honey.
What?
Warm honey.
Around your brows?
Yeah, warm honey in the bottom and foundation on the top.
That warm honey might be a little too light too, you know. Because I use warm honey for my T-zone.
Okay.
So I
So
would
then I could
recommend
underneath the
that
eyebrow.
if I was doing your makeup, I would definitely use fawn for your T-zone area, and I would use chestnut for your eyebrows. Definitely.
Okay then.
Right? So work on your blending.
Okay.
Try not to. I would suggest that you stick to the fawn for your T-zone area, but don't use that warm honey on for your brows. That might be a little too light, and it could actually, if you're using it with eyeshadow, it really wouldn't matter. But if you're using it without, it's going to be a little too light under the brows.
Okay, so fawn and chestnut.
Right?
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So I wanna, as I said before, I wanna show you all how I mix my calamine lotion and moisturizer. As I said before, there's no specific measurements. It's just based on average. But I know some of you would have been unsure how it's done. So I'll show you all how I do. It's very simple. There's no maths in it, but just to give you all some clarity, because I know some of you would have been a bit questionable with it. And yeah. So let me just get my model before we go into it.
Miss your mic off.
So for those who are, you want to come down? Pull it up. Stay close back. Right. For those who are unsure as to what calamine lotion is, what the packaging, what it looks like, etc., this is calamine lotion, right? It's watery, so watery liquid, but as it gets when it opens, it starts getting dry. So it's supposed to remain sealed at all times, right? Tightly sealed. So when I open it now, it's going to be very watery. But as the two products mixed together, it's going to start getting thick, not dry, but it's going to be creamy. So I'm using the calamine lotion and I'm using the moisturizer. Now I only use this particular moisturizer for clients. I use different ones for myself. That's okay, Cassie. I use other moisturizers for my skin because I don't have any issues with using specific brands, but I don't take the chance with clients because of having various skin types, etc. This, on the other hand, it's actually for all skin types, and it's one of the most natural moisturizers that there is. I've never gotten any bad reaction or bad review from any of my clients, thank God, using this particular moisturizer, right? And what you need is a little bottle. So I'm just showing you all 2 bottles, right? This is a regular bottle. Now, this is a bottle I would have bought in Pennywise in a set. And this is a reusable bottle from an overnight moisture lotion. So you can do any one. You can buy a new bottle or you could just reuse a bottle. I am going to use this one because it's bigger, but I'm just showing you all that this size is okay as well. This would be too small for me, obviously. But for personal use, that size is fine. So I'm just opening the bottle. It's a simple thing. It's basically common sense. And I'm gonna pour. So you'll see how thick it is. You could use a funnel, but it might stick in the funnel. And a trick is when it gets dry, you can just add some water because it's water-based. You can just add a little bit of water in it and shake it back up and it's going to get back to its consistency. Because I'm not using all, I'm just using like, not even quarter bottle. Now using this by itself on the face, it doesn't smell too nice. I mean, it doesn't smell bad, but it smells more of a chalky kind of a scent. And I personally don't like it. But when I use the Himalaya moisturizer, it gives a really, really, really nice smell. Really nice scent. So this is about half of this bottle. Now, I retract it. Right, so this is about quarter bottle of the calamine, right? And make sure you close it back tightly. And you're storing this in a very cool place. Like in your cupboard, in your cabinet, in the bathroom, or wherever. I store it in my studio because there's AC in there, so the consistency will remain. Try not to leave it where there's too much heat because it will dry up on you. Excuse. And with the moisturizer, I'm just gonna squeeze some, not much. That's it. Cover it up and shake it all up together. You want to give it a good shake to make sure that it mixes nicely. And why I use a bottle like this, make sure you have a bottle that has a full cover, not a bottle with a pump, because when this gets thick, it wouldn't be able to come through. So I will use it like this sometimes. I can get it out. Right? So you see the consistency there? And that is how you make your primer. And it's gonna get thicker than this. But that's it. Simple. Easy peasy. So for those who are unsure as to how to mix your primer, that's it. There's no specific measurement, as I said before. And you can use this until it's finished. Yes, Chanel.
Hi, Miss. Just wanted to find out something. In case where, like you said, you use a different moisturizer, do you mix it with your other moisturizers or just with this one?
I use different moisturizers for my face, which I would moisturize my face with. But I use the same thing to prime.
Okay, so you could just put on your regular, you could put on your regular moisturizer first and then put the chamomile lotion over it. Okay,
yes.
Thank you.
Now, the reason I'm mixing so if you notice, it's more calamine lotion than moisturizer, right? The purpose of the moisturizer is not really to, the purpose of the moisturizer is more to just break down the consistency of the calamine lotion to avoid it from actually being so dry, because it gives a more cakey finish on the face. But when you break it down, adding the moisturizer, it gives it a more soft and natural feel. It lightens up the feel of the makeup on the face. Sometimes using the calamine lotion as it is could cause the face to feel a bit heavy. And if your face is too dry, it will actually start cracking. Because calamine itself, if it's on the skin just like that, it would actually crack. So it's just to kind of break down the formula a little bit. but you still need to add your moisturizer when doing your prepping.
Got it.
I saw a hand was up, but it came back down. Okay, I guess I answered that. Right, so any questions with regards to calamine lotion and moisturizer, you can shoot it now before we go forward. Going once, going twice, no? Okay, so let's go. I hope everybody is ready. It's now 3:30, so I'm guessing that you'll have sufficient time to do your eyebrows and your foundation, right? Yes, yes, just let me know, yes. Thank you, Crystal. Yes, Frishmi.
Let's take a look at mine, please.
I'm not looking at any what you want me to see? Foundation?
Yeah.
I am not looking at, sorry, what will I close the eye? I am not looking at any foundation at the moment because we're moving forward, right? So every week, if I keep looking back at the same foundation, there must be some level of improvement. So if I give you a positive result, then if we already move past this topic, I don't think I need to see it again. Keep your eyes closed, right? Sorry. Do you feel like the bristles rub against the eyeball? All right, so I'm going in with the concealer now because I already did the foundation. I want to open the eyes here. And I want you all to take your time, look carefully at where I'm laying the foundation, the concealer, sorry. So you notice I'm not passing her nose, right? Because I want to create structure on her face. And these are the areas of the face that is highlighted the most, right? So if you notice when I'm applying the concealer, I'm following the outline of the chin and under the lip. Because when this area is highlighted, it brings out the lips more and you see the beauty. All that has to do with creating structure. So when she applies lipstick or lip gloss or whatever, highlighted around the mouth is going to show the lips even more. So if there's any, dark spots or anything around the lips, all those things would cover up. So today I did not add any orange corrector on her face, but for those who were here last week, if you look carefully, you're still seeing a bit of the darkness that she naturally has around her mouth. So see how important using the orange corrector is. And you want to make sure when you apply a concealer and you blend your concealer that you are not seeing where the concealer meets the foundation. Everything is supposed to fuse together, blend in and meet each other neatly and nicely to create that flawless finish, right? And remember, you are not going all the way up to the eye, under the eyes when you're applying the concealer, because you want to make sure when you are blending it out that the blender takes it up there so you wouldn't have a thick layer under the eyes. All those things is what causes creasing. When there's too much product under the eye, that actually causes the creasing and that thick layer of product under the eye. And you want to maintain. So for instance, you see where the concealer stopped here when I applied it. I'm tapping the blender right on that line between the foundation and the concealer to ensure that it's blended properly. We're just sticking on the area, on the outline of the area, because if I take it all the way down here, I'll be dragging the concealer and then they wouldn't have any structure on her face. So what I'm going to do, using the same technique that we would have done on Wednesday, last week Wednesday, I'm going to do the exact same technique on her eyes, but I'm going to use another color. So I'm going to show you all how you can take the same technique and create a similar look, but a brighter look that is. Not so much of a brighter look, but a more, so using the neutral browns would more useful as a soft look, but I'm going to use a different color to create. No, I don't. I don't use Elixir on all my crayons. What I use different concealers depending on the type of client's skin that I'm dealing with. But Elixir is a concealer that is easy to work with and mix with and to practice with as well. So like for brides and stuff, no, I don't use Elegirl. For soft looks or for, it's based on the type of makeup that I'm doing and the occasion will determine what brand of concealer I would use, basically. But as a makeup artist in the industry, I always recommend the students to start off using the Elegirl for 2 reasons, but for probably more than 2 reasons. One, it's cost effective. 2, the quality is amazing because they are high-end concealers and it's not as good as the Elegirl. 3, it's the ultimate and most recommended concealer to actually practice with. It gives you the control and the pigments and the coverage is excellent. So it's a win-win, especially for students. And because it's a class and we are practicing, it doesn't make sense me using my Maybelline concealers or my Tarte concealers or my Lancome concealers to practice, because when the class is finished, she'll be taking this off her face. So basically, it's like you're wasting products. But a concealer from Elegirl is like $30. And that's quite affordable to get good results. Questions? Yes, you need to use that much setting powder because of the fact that you want to ensure that you get proper coverage. Because the setting powder is just setting into the skin to set the area. You need to make sure you have proper coverage of the entire area that you actually conceal. And to take down the whiteness when you apply your setting spray, that softens the entire look and it locks and seals everything in place. So right now, if you look at her face looks fairly white and I wouldn't say it looks a bit ashy because I didn't use the setting spray yet. But when I set it with the setting spray, you would see how everything will just close in and lock together, and that ashy effect will tone down. As I said couple classes ago, you cannot be afraid of your product. Use your product. Don't overuse your product, but use your product. I packed in the setting powder with the beauty blender. So what I do is this. So I have some setting powder on the beauty blender here, right? And I'm packing it into the skin, right? To soak up all that concealer. Pat it into the skin. I like using a beauty blender or a wedge to do this. And when that's done, so let's say, for instance, this has the first layer of setting powder. After that, I'm just dusting it away lightly. That's all. Now, when I'm doing the finishing powder, which is what we call the face powder, I pat that in to the skin, because remember, I use the beauty blend to pat the setting powder in. I'll have to pat and bring in again. But to apply the finishing powder, I want to make sure I pat it in to give it, to cover everywhere that would have had foundation. That's to avoid smudging and to make sure that the setting powder, the foundation sets properly. All right, so now we're going, so now we're going to set the eyes with the eye primer. Remember what I showed you last week? Start from the lower lid. The lower lid. See, also I dipped in here once. I'm not going in again, and I'm just taking whatever product on the brush. Covering the entire lower lid. And now I am lightening on the tapping and taking it up to the brow bone. Pardon? Yes. Felicia? Shanice John? Yes, after the finishing powder, we're going into eyes. You have to give me the name of the person who asked you the question. The AVI primer, Selena. The eye primer I recommended the class to get a few weeks ago. All right, okay. Send me a photo of your eyeshadow using the JK, let me see. After class, you can send it to me on Instagram. Let me see the application. So if you don't have the AV, you can use Clong Base, white Clong Base from Graftobian. You can also use the primer from Ambrosia, or you can use the e.l.f. Putty primer. Let me show you what it looks like. This is the e.l.f. Putty eye primer, right? Pretty inside, but this is what it looks like. The only thing is this is not as creamy as the Clown Base and the AVI primer. So this sometimes gives some trouble to apply on the eyes. So be very careful. All right, so last week we had done this look using brown, but today I'm going to do this look using different shades of burgundy. Right, so the first color I'm going in with is this here. Pennywise have one. I'm not too sure. Pennywise have some elf brands, but I'm not too sure if they have the putty primer. But to be honest, I would not recommend the elf if you're now learning to apply the eye primer. As I said, it's a bit dry, so it will give you some difficulties. And if your primer isn't applied evenly like this, then your eyeshadow would look a mess. Remember this, if your eye primer isn't applied properly, your eyeshadow would not be applied properly. There's a question here. Sasha primer is a, what did I do? Sasha primer is a bit dry as well. I don't know what I'm phone. What do you want to see? The color eyeshadow. This burgundy color here. So if you don't have it, you can do it. You can repeat the brown that we did last week. So if you don't have it, you don't have to do these shades together. You can do the browns that we had done last week. But I'm just for this brush with you. But I'm just showing you how you can create the same look using different colors. Do you recommend elegant eyeshadow? Eyeshadow. Yeah, it's not bad. But you have to make sure you have to be careful with what palettes you're buying, because Elegant will have a wide range of palettes. So you have to purchase the ones that actually gives you a nice balance. When I say that, I mean some that has some shimmer, some matte. You want a combination of both matte and shimmer, and you also want to make sure that you have transition colors in the palette. And I mean, to be honest, the prices you're paying for LA Girl palettes, how much for LA Girl palette? Like one something, is it, or less? Let me know if it's less. What is the average price for $90, right? So if you are purchasing a palette for $90, there are palettes with a better consistency that you can get for like $125, $150, and it would work better for you. There was somebody I was chatting with during the week here who was having some difficulty in choosing palettes. Yes, there are palettes for 3 something and 4 something and 5 something and 2 something. But there are also brands right on Instagram and where a lot of local suppliers sell, and you get them for 1 something, and it's really good palettes. Also Trebel, I think they are online now, but they used to be in San Juan. They had, I don't know if they still have it, but they used to have palettes that are dupe to the Morphe for, I think, like $150 or something. So it's in the same Morphe packaging, but it's not Morphe, it's not branded, there's no brand on it. Those palettes are actually very good, but I don't know if they still sell them. So you can probably contact them and see. I'm just using a regular eyeshadow brush, a regular flat eyeshadow brush. That's preset. So if you realize that your eyes are constantly creasing when it opens, the before you apply your eyeshadow, be sure to go back in and tap before you go with your eyeshadow. So the first thing you want to do is tap in your main color. And you are following, remember what I said last week, you are following right on the brow bone. And you would know that you are following on the brow bone because you're going to feel the brush tapping on the brow bone area. So you're tapping in your main color right there, right on the brow bone. And you want to make sure that you cover the entire area. Right? That's the main color right there. Let's do the same thing on the other side. You want to follow, remember you are following the brow bone area. You're not going any higher than the brow bone. And you are following that part of the eyelid only. And if you notice, I'm coming in right under the brow, but I'm not coming all the way out. Right, that's the first step. Just 1 second. Here, charger. Good. Oh, yeah, so? Yeah, sure. So I'm going in now with a smaller blending brush. And I'm going in with my transition color. And right on the area to fuse the transition color and that main color together, I'm just blending. But you want to tap on your transition as well as lightly tap on your main color.
May I take just repeat that again, please? I didn't get it.
What do you want me to repeat?
You tap on the transition something.
Right. So I'm blending, I'm adding the transition color to the main color to create a blend. So I'm going in with my transition first, tapping on the area to apply the product there. But you want to remove that harsh line between the two colors. So you tap on the transition as well as tapping lightly on the main color, whichever the main color is. And right between the two, you want to fuse them together to create a nice blend, because what you don't want to get is a harsh line. You don't want to see a harsh line. And the thing is with eyeshadow, you always find yourself going back in to blend, to add products, Yes. It's the same color. So I'm using this, all I changed was the brown. All I changed was the brown. Instead of using brown, I'm using burgundy or wine or whatever. If you want to use purple as well. Actually, if you want to use purple, you may not get the same thing, because if you use purple, you may want to transition with like a shade like pink. So you always want to go back in and just make sure you blend. Now, if it is, I want to intensify this purple, this burgundy. I'm going back in and I'm tapping again just to smoke it out a bit. If you want. This is your tear duct. I didn't put anything here. Here is the tear duct area. So let me show you all the different parts of the eyelid, right? This is the eyelid here. This is the lower lid, right? This whole area here is the lower lid. Here is the lower outer lid. Up here, right here where that bone is pressing, that is the brow bone area. All here is the brow bone area. The lower brow bone, the upper brow bone. Here is the inner upper lid. And here is the tear duct. Open your eyes to me. Underneath, open your eyes. Underneath here is what is called the waterline. This is where you're going to add your liner, your gel liner, or your black pencil to open up and brighten up the eyes a bit. And this is the area where you're going to smoke to ensure that everything blends in together. So this here, I'm using this small blending brush to blend on the brow bone area to fuse the transition color and the main color together. And if you do some blending very lightly, you can barely see her skin moving. Close your eyes to me. You can barely see her skin moving because all I want to do is just blend the product. I don't really want to interfere with putting pressure on her skin. So your hands have to be very, very, very light to achieve this. And I'm just blending right there on the area, back and forth. Look for us, sit there now. Look for us, sit there. And this technique actually, as I am saying, don't fall asleep, because this technique, it feels like a feather. So it kind of relaxes the eyelid, and it has actually made clients fall asleep on my chair. But it's a very relaxing feeling. So now if you look at the difference, use how important a transition color is. You see, this is what you want to achieve, not this. Yet there are people who are going to leave home like this, and this is not cool. We don't want to see this, right? So now, let's repeat on this side. So I'm going back in with my transition color first, using my small blending brush and tapping it or applying it right there above the hash line. You know, adding the first layer. And now to go with the second layer, I'm tapping on the transition color with the main color. And I'm fusing it together. It's very simple. It just takes technique. Going in again. And you're blending away that harshness. And the orange from the transition gives a beautiful blend between the brow, the tail of the brow, that highlighted area there, and the main color. So with this technique, you don't really have to add a highlighted shade on the under the brows. Is that a question? Okay, no problem. Your transition color is normally a brick color or a peach color. that's used as if this is like the main transition shade that I use with most of my colors. So if I'm doing smoky black, I transition with brown, and then I transition with orange, but I use brown first. So when we do smoky on Wednesday, you all will learn that. If I'm using burgundy, if I'm using blues, whatever I'm using, I transition with this orange. This is the main transition color that actually works and fuses. It also brings warmth back to the color to give that nice, flawless application. I'm just gonna tap back. So this time I'm just tapping back to fuse everything together before we start working with the bottom, with the lower lid. Right? So she has like slightly hooded eyes. So I'm going to just create some space, going back in with the primer, just to create some space up until like the top of the lower lid. So when I apply the inner color, it's going to show. If I apply it just like this, it wouldn't be as effective. All right. Now, orange actually works with every color, right? But if you don't want that warmth and you want something a little bit more dramatic, if you are something I would advise you all to invest in is something called a color wheel that actually helps you match your colors. I don't have my color wheel here with me, it's in my shop, but it helps you match your colors if you want to use different colors together. When we're doing color blocking, I would try to have my color wheel with me so you will be able to understand better. So if you decide to do a blue look and your main color is blue, now I would use orange to transition because I personally like that warm effect. Okay. Come on, okay. Stay right here. I had a feeling that this question would have actually come, right? So let's go into it one time. Say for instance, you want to do an orange, if you're doing browns, burgundy, orange, reds, all those colors, even smoky with black, all those colors, they're actually going to use the orange to transition. You can, as I said before, you can use it with any base color, any main color. But if you want something a little more dramatic, then your transition colors would be, and you don't want it, if you don't want a warm, but you want something that is more, I do the same thing with my carnival looks, but what I'm saying is, if you don't like the warmth effect, if you're using blues, like see for instance, this color is your main color for your blue eyeshadow, the color that you can transition with that is like a lighter blue or white, right? Personally, I don't like the effects of it. It makes it look a little pastel. I believe in classy makeup. So if you want to use purples, you can use pink to transition. If you want to use red, you can also use yellow to transition. If you're using black, you transition with brown and then you soften it and blend it up and fuse it together using orange. What is the next color? If you are using, I said purple, you can use pink. If you want to do a pink look, you go in with a lighter pink to transition. Because what you want to make sure is you have a nice faded, like an ombre effect that fuses the both colors together or the three colors together to make sure that each shade complements each other. So be very, very careful. But me saying it would be harder for you to, maybe harder for you to understand. But if when I get my color wheel, I'll be able to explain it better. Let me take some questions. Shala. I didn't put anything there. I may use like a nude or something. Because we're not doing color blocking yet. When we start doing color blocking, then I'm going to be doing all the different colors on the inner lid. But this main technique is for you all to learn the technique, because this is a multi-purpose technique that you can use for any particular occasion and any age brackets. It could work well with. So Shala, you go ahead. Najala, is it Jala? Jila?
Nyla.
Jala? Nyla?
Nyla.
Nyla?
Yes.
Let me hear you.
I was stuck after, well, when we study eyeshadow.
All right, so your brows way too thick. Way too thick. And instead of you coming, you have, I have to get it right. Could you spot up for me so I can see on a wider screen? Right. Your brows one are way too thick. And it looks too thick from the top because I am seeing from on my lens where your eyebrow hairs are, and you actually went up too high. You don't have to go so high. All you want to do is follow the natural outline of your natural brow. You don't want to create thicker brows. Right? That's one. Two, you're applying too much product in the brow. Right? Right. You're applying too much product in the brow. Right? So be very careful when you're going in with the product. Very light on your product. Use your spoolie, blend it out properly. So whatever you outline the brow with, blend that into the natural hair of your brow, and then you would be able to see how much product extra you're going to need. That's one, right? So I want you to work on the brows.
All right.
Two, the eyeshadow. For some reason, I don't know if there's a scar on your in your eyelid, or if that's the primer I'm seeing on your right eyelid. If I'm seeing it looking rough like that, that means that the eyeshadow, the eye primer wasn't blended properly, wasn't applied evenly at all. So that's what I was saying. If your eye primer isn't applied evenly, then your eyeshadow itself will not show up the way you expect it to, right? That's two. And three, work on following the technique in the specific areas of the eye. Don't just go and apply the eyeshadow, but take your time and apply it in the specific areas. Lighten up your hands and make sure you're very observant as to what tools you're using. If you have brushes and you want me to help you choose whatever brushes for whatever area, send me a photo of the brushes and I'll be able to guide you on using them properly.
All right.
Right, but the foundation application was done very good. Right?
Thank you.
No problem. So, Selena Rampasad.
Hi, Miss. Wanted to find out about the inner corner. What color can I put on it? I wanted to put like a shimmer on it, like a red one, to blend it with the burgundy. Can I do that?
Red on the entire inner lid?
Yeah, oh no, on the inner. More to the inner.
On the lower lid?
I put
the lower
yeah.
inner part of the lid?
Yes.
If you use red on that entire area, then you know what's gonna happen. Everything is going to look like one color. because you're already too close to the burgundy, way too close. It will just look as if you apply a shimmer in one shade in this and a matte in the same shade. You want to always go in with something lighter to actually bring out the shape of the eye and the shape of the technique itself. You could use burgundy if you want to fuse two colors in between. If you want to fuse a color on the outer and inner. But to cover the entire little burgundy will not look good at all. You wouldn't even see the technique itself. And I'm going to show you, wait a bit, because I'm going to show you all how to actually fuse the two colors together. So hold up on it, right?
Okay, cool. Thanks,
All right.
Miss.
Nazia Khan.
Hi, Miss.
Hi.
I didn't have the burgundy, so I used a purple, but I think the purple was a bit too much.
The blending is, no, it's not.
Not
It's
right.
good.
And the corner, the outer corner, the lid. I was wondering if I should put a little bit of black or a dark brown to fuse it
Not
out.
brown. Anytime you
Is
want
that-
to, anytime you want to darken or smoke out a color, tap very light on black.
And just
Or-
blend it in only in the
Or
outer
you can
corner.
go, or when you don't have burgundy and you use pink. So if you had burgundy, you could have used burgundy to smoke it out, right? But you don't have it. So if you want to smoke it out, you can use black, and using the black would actually create that burgundy effect. But using the black, you have to be very, very, very careful when you're blending it out.
Use
right?
very little and blend.
So because you asked that question, I will show you how to do it shortly.
Okay. I didn't use pink here actually. I used the orange into
Yeah.
the purple. And it looked like pink.
I use the orange for almost all my colors because I like that warm, classy finish. To me, I find using colors that's lighter than the main color gives it more of a tacky, old school effect. Whereas I'm teaching the modern way now. So we want to always create warmth on the entire face. In whichever technique that we use, we want to always bring back warmth. So you see when you use the orange, how nicely it blended together?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Ooh. Sashel.
This is mine. I didn't do this eye as yet. I just want to get feedback on this eye.
All right. So Sashel, you see that what eye primer you use there?
Easy.
You use too much. You use way too much. All right. So take the same brush that you would have used to apply it. Go apply any product on it. You have a piece of paper towel with you?
Yeah.
Wipe it off, rub it on it. No. I meant to wipe the brush because I want to see something. I just don't want to have any more product on the brush.
Okay. Right.
Right. So show me now how you apply a primer.
I did this.
We use a concealer brush to apply the primer.
Yeah, this.
I wouldn't blend at all.
Okay.
Remember for the first day we did eyeshadow, I was very specific when I said make sure that the brush has short bristles and has a fluffy, not a fluffy effect, but a round effect, not a flat effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a concealer brush as well. Let me see.
I think it's the eyes. It doesn't have a name on it. I came with a
All
brush.
right. So use that brush. Let's say using that brush. And let me see where you're starting with your eye primer.
I went here in the middle and I kind of just pulled out the bottom.
You just
and then
drag it.
No, with the tapping.
Right, but the concealer brush, because the concealer brush is flat, it doesn't have much, it doesn't have anything to work with. So it's just gonna place it there and leave it there. So it's going to give you a rough application. Then when you go with your eyeshadow, the eyeshadow itself is going to apply roughly.
Okay.
Right? So I want to take your time and don't go in so heavy because that concealer brush holds a lot of product. So when it holds too much, that's why it's specifically for concealer, because you need plenty concealer for coverage. You don't need plenty eye primer for coverage, right? Because concealer is more of a liquid form, whereas the primer is more of a pressed. So you just need a little bit to go a long way. So what will happen? The concealer brush would apply too much product that's unnecessary for the eyelid area. So take that fluffy brush and pat on that area until you get it completely flat and a balance all the way through. Okay. The eyeshadow, well, I can't really comment on it because of the fact that the eye primer was applied roughly. But when you do that, do this eye and look at the difference and you're going to see it.
Okay.
All right. Kelly?
Yes, miss. I don't know if I went up. Oh, you could. You seeing me?
I can't see Kelly or not seeing anything. All right.
Okay, so I don't know if I went up too much with the purple, but I used a kind of orange something to blend it in because I didn't have but the orange had a kind of shine in it because I didn't have like the flat one without.
Somebody else mic on. Turn off. It's showing her off. Right, go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah, so I was wondering if I went up too much in the corner here with the purple, and as I say, I didn't have the orange flat one. I had it kind of like a shimmer with it, so I used the orange shimmer with it. So,
all right, but next time, whenever you get it, always remember to everything that goes in your outer lid. The outer lid, your main color would always be matte. The shimmers is more for your inner and your lower lid and to do all your cut creases and all those things. With regards to the inner lid, you came out too much with the eye primer.
Okay.
Right? So what you can do, a trick is you can either use your foundation brush and just lightly tap on the area to kind of just bring back the foundation coverage there, and then continue working on the lower lid. Also, bring out the light part of the lower lid a little bit more. You don't want your outer shade to reach so much inside of the eyelid area, because the purpose that is serving is just for the brow bone, not for the inner lid. Right?
Oh,
to create more of a shape on your brow, on your eyes, you wanna use balance all the way around. Right?
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Who else? Message mom. Features.
Afternoon again, miss. I think I started to go a little left from the time I started the eyeshadow. Are you seeing?
I could barely see. So you see that nice window behind you with that amazing light that's coming in? That would actually help me see you better.
1 minute, miss.
Go by the window so I can see. I'll be able to see exactly what you're trying to show me. Right, so a little bit again. All right, so I need you to It was going good with the brows, but I think it gets too comfortable. So work on the keep up with the brows. If it's giving you problems, go back into the LMS and watch the video again. You didn't apply enough product. I don't know what palette you're using. Because some of these palettes are not pigmented.
Eliku.
Yeah, let me see. Open it. Let me see. It's a nice palette though. And what primer you used?
The Sasha. Yeah, it was Sasha.
Sasha primer. All right. So, and what shades they use on the eyes? I seen purple, but I seen a blue some too.
It was these two, right here.
All right. So you didn't have to use the purple. You could have just used that flex, right? And transition with the orange. That
Which
other
orange?
purple would have throw it off here.
Because the only orange that was on was the shimmery one here. And it wasn't really orange.
No,
it was
that's
kind
not
of
orange. That's shimmer eyes. That's even orange. That's more of a bronze.
Yeah. So I didn't have
that's
like
more for your inner lid.
Yeah. I was looking for orange, but they were more purple and blue colors.
And
in
that's the
this
only
palette.
palette you have?
Yeah, the other one is about the same shimmer too. So
Right, so that's what I was saying. When you're buying palettes, make sure there's a balance. When you open up your palettes, before you purchase them, don't just pick up any old palette. Make sure that there's a balance. Make sure you're getting some transitions, you're getting something to smoke out with. Some matte, some smoky. People like the shimmer and they think, well, shimmer could work on the entire eyelid, but it can't. Shimmer is not for the entire eyelid at all. It's more for just the inner crease and to create glamour. Right? So your next palette you're going to get, whenever you get it, make sure it has transition color, a black, and a balance of matte and the shimmer. More matte than shimmer if you know, because you have more to work with. When you have too much shimmers, you don't have much to actually work with.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next. No problem. Cindy.
Hi, Miss. Morning. Well, evening. Sorry. I don't
Yes, Cindy. I try to see what you want me to fix.
Well, I just want to know what you think because hear what happened, right? We use the orange corrector, but we was getting a lot. We used too much. So I don't know if you're seeing it here.
Hold a second. 1 second.
Good morning. Question talking about the orange corrector, the body makeup itself. I don't know. We'll see. There's actually the makeup again. But still the cracks. Yeah. Yes. I don't know if you're seeing it. Seeing the orange corrector here.
No, I'm not seeing it.
Right. But it's good there so far, right?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Thank you so much. I still get any cracks though. I went in with the brush, as you told me, and lift the eyelid.
Right.
To get the creases, but I still get any creases. I don't know if you've seen it
That's
yet.
okay. You will get until you apply your product. When you apply your product, just tap it in. Just
and the ruby kisses. The ruby kisses, where we'll be able to get that. Could we use it?
But she doesn't no, because if her eyes continuously opens before you apply your eyeshadow, no matter what to do, you will get creases.
Okay.
So if you're using that primer there, if you're going to use another eye primer in there, it's going to cause some problems.
Okay.
So just make sure she keeps her eyes closed throughout the process.
Okay, no problem.
All right.
Thanks.
Give me one more. One more. Radical.
Good evening, Miss.
Hi. Hold a second, Radhika. Yes, Radhika.
I didn't have a purple, so I used the same color that I used last week, the brown and the orange color.
All right, you need to blend it. You need to take your time and blend it properly.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so let's continue. Let me get a blur. So before I continue, the mic is on. Right, so before I continue, palettes. When I talk about looking for variation, looking for colors, looking for palettes that actually gives you a little balance. Let me show you what I mean, right? So when you get a palette like this, and one of the palettes that actually does that, what I'm speaking about, is definitely James Charles palette. There's a palette called the Makeup Shack. And it is an underrated eyeshadow palette, but I think because it's not a popular palette, people are familiar with it. I have it, and it's big like this. I think the cost of it is $125 or $130. It's highly pigmented. There's a nice layout of colors. If anybody want to see what it looks like, message me, and I would send the link to because I think Terry has it. I'm not sure who has it either, but I know she sent it to me sometime last year to test it out, and it works really, really, really good. And I have not last year before. And a lot of my students previously used it because it's cost effective and it's very easy to work with. So when you're looking for a palette that gives you variation, I'm talking about something like this. So for instance, you have transition colors here. You have enough nudes that you can work with. You also have colors that would actually fuse with the darker colors. And plus you get some matte and some shimmer. Matte, shimmer, matte, shimmer in form of the same colors, right? That's one. This too is a smaller palette, but it can also give you some variation, right? Now, people who like Juvia's or who have an interest in Juvia's, like I always tell my students, if you are going to buy a first Juvia's palette, let this Masquerade palette be a first palette. Reason being, you get a nice balance of colors together, right? And when you're looking for bright colors, well, I wouldn't recommend this just yet, but in terms of variation, in terms of balance, in terms of colors that you can transition and create different looks with, not this palette, because this palette is about $500. Don't invest in this yet because you want to get other things for the class. If your birthday coming up, Christmas coming up, let them buy this for you, right? But for now, I'm just showing you the layout of what you should be looking for in a palette. Not exactly this, but a layout, something like this. So you have variation. You have options to work with, right? So for future purposes, when you go to get your palettes, make sure you look for palettes like that. and also the 868 pink palette as well. As I know some of you all have it already. So I'm just going to smoke out the ends here to just show you all how you could make the color a little more intense. Miss, yes, and the Tobago palette as well. Definitely. Close the eyes. So I'm going to just smoke out the outer lid. And now this black is very pigmented. So I'm tapping lightly. And all I want to do is smoke out the outer lid to intensify that color. But I'm doing it in a pull down motion. So I'm starting from the lowest point and I'm pulling it and fusing it in with the color. So in that way, you don't have any harsh lines. This is the Stacey Marie Be Perfect palette. I think this palette is about $4.50. I think so. Yeah, about $4.50. This one is the Stacey Marie Carnival 3. So they have Carnival 1, Carnival 2, and this is the Carnival 3. This is actually the most recent one that came out this year. So I'm just smoking it out, right? Just to intensify the burgundy. And you can do this with any color. So you see now, if she was going out in the day, this would be nice. But for me as a makeup artist, I don't have anything like, there's nothing like daytime and nighttime makeup for me. Makeup is makeup. However, I feel what my mood is will determine how my makeup will be. But if somebody has a dinner or a nighttime event and they really want to bring some elegance to the makeup, you know, they don't want it so soft. This is a simple technique in doing that. Simple, simple. That's black. That's just black I added to the burgundy, right? So this is with it, and this is without. So you have the option if you want to do it with or without. So I think I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it to like that so you can see the difference.
Miss, do you have to go all the way up to the corner of your eyes with the black?
All the way up to the corner. I didn't go all the way up to the corner. I stayed right on the outer lower lid. Let me show you all what I did. I don't know if you all didn't see it. I stayed right here. My first set of products came right here. And I started pulling down. As I started pulling down, I started fusing it into the burgundy. I didn't go all the way up here. I stayed right here at the outer lower lid. That's
so
all.
The little piece of white primer will still be showing though.
Yeah, but we're not finished.
Oh, okay.
We're going to create space to bring back the shape of the technique now.
Oh, okay. I thought that was it. So I was
No, there's nothing there. There is nothing. This is just nothing. There's nothing there.
Okay.
We're going to do that now. Yeah. So when a person has small lower lid space, or what we call hooded eyes, most times the product gets all in those areas. So what we want to do now is create space. So I'm going to tap lightly in my primer. I don't want too much. And right on the area there, I'm just going to tap to erase the eyeshadow that came down too low on the lid. Right? So exactly where I want the product to go, I'm tapping the eye primer right there. In this way, it helps the eyeshadow to show up more. If you don't do this, everything would look in one. If I apply any product here, exactly what you see in here is what you're going to see. You're not going to see the eyeshadow being up. You're not going to see it showing up here. But when you come back and you apply a product to take away the excess eyeshadow that would have come down too low into the brush, Now you are seeing where the shape of the eye technique is coming in together, coming back together. You understand? I should probably show them the difference.
Miss, is that brush a little bit fluffy that you're reapplying the primer with?
Pardon?
Is the brush that you're reapplying the primer with a little bit fluffy?
Yes.
Miss, excuse you, hear me? But you could use in place of the cool.
Yes, now, stop. So I am a teacher of order, right? I am very, 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 very particular with order. So if we get out of order, we will have problems. So remember the first day, if you have any questions you want to put on your mic, raise your hands, and then the assistant will alert me and let me know somebody's hands is raised, and then I'll call you to answer. If you bombard me with questions, you will end up becoming out of order and you will get thrown off, right? So just turn your camera, your mic, and just ask the question just like that, but let me get the alerted first, right? So I'm going to create space. And yes, I'm using a small, fluffy brush. You want to make sure your brush is not stiff, but it's not too fluffy. So we're creating this space. So you see where the shape now is coming together. It's coming back together. I'm using the same brush. Now I have a shimmer burgundy here, right? I'm going to tap on it first. And I'm going to place it right next to the black. Or should I say next to the lower outer lid, right there, because I want to fuse the inner color with the outer, right? But I'm going to use a shimmer. So I'm going in with a shimmer in the same color of the outer lid. So this is the burgundy to match up the burgundy shimmer to match up with the burgundy matte. And I'm tapping it right there to fuse it in together. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side where I did not smoke out. To do the same thing. In place of cool tan. In place of cool tan. Toffee. Cool tan is closest. Toffee is closest to cool tan. Yeah, I would think so. So this is more of a softer look, whereas this is more of a smoky look, right? So I'm going to just clean the brush. And in the inner lid here, using this color combo, you can either do like a light shimmer pink, or you can do a champagne. Let me do a champagne first. So I'm going with this on one side. I'll do it on this side. And I'm just tapping right on the area where I created the space. And you see when the shimmer meets the shimmer, it fuses nicely together. Rubbing alcohol or brush cleaner. I'll show you all just now. So I use that shade on that side. But on the other side, I'm going to use more of like a pink, right? So I'm gonna go in with this shade here. And I'm gonna tap it. So for the person who had asked me about using the red, if you want to use red in a shimmer, place your red here. And then go in with something lighter on a more neutral level to fuse the two colors together. In that way, be able to see all the different colors in the lid all at once. After, I didn't cut any crease. I didn't cut a crease. I just created space. This is not a cut crease. This is just creating space. A cut crease is where you actually outline the area and remove all the products. So to just clean up the area, I'm just gonna blend the top. Just blending the upper lid and the lower lid together to take away the harshness. You can tap on it. This has a more of a light pink, and this has more of a champagne. This is like a flower or something. So now I'm going into contour. I'm gonna just remember the contouring method. Now we are creating a number 3 to bring structure back to the face. This is where we are doing all the finishing touches of the face. So it's 1, 2, 3. Remember last week we had spoken about where the contour powder goes, then where the blush goes, and then where the highlight goes, right? So the contouring powder is from the lobe to the end of the mouth in line, but it's not passing the arch of the brow, which is here, right? But it's not passing here. And now we're going to apply the blush. The blush is overlapping right on top, right, not on top, right over the contouring area, which is like in line with over the ear. And when you're applying your blush, you don't apply blush like this. You bring your blush down to meet the contour. Your blush is not supposed to be like a big pink or a big red marker on your face. I'm using a regular angle brush. an angled brush, and I'm just tapping it right over the area where I apply the contouring powder. We're not doing contouring of the nose. That's more for an advanced class. The contouring of the nose area, all those areas is to use cream contour. And cream contouring is more for an advanced class. Now I know some of you would have had issues with your products overlapping or exceeding the eye area. Open your eyes. All you have to do, so like for instance, how this happened here, all you have to do is go back in with the same foundation brush, no product, and just rub back and forth on the area, and it will take it away, just like that. Let me see if this side has it. This side doesn't have it. How about this bit? They just rub, just back and forth, and it's gone. Now, when you're applying highlights, smile for me. Make sure that you get a smile because you want to get the apples of the cheek. So you remember when I came down with the contouring powder, I came down. With the blush, I came down. With the highlights now, right on the area in a circular motion, you're tapping your highlighting powder right in line over the blush area. You're not supposed to see lines between. So you're fusing the highlights into the blush. So everything would be in, not really in one, but layered nicely. Right? I just like to tap it on the brow bone. We do the same thing on this side. So you're starting right here. You also where I applied it right here. And a circular motion, it's taking it up. So the highlighter meets the blush meets the contour. Anytime you see a brown line, a red line, and a gold line, know that something is wrong. You did something wrong. Right? Remember we did the T-zone area. So we just want to highlight the rest of the T-zone area, which is also the nose bridge. Let me come back to the front. And I like using a small brush, a small fluffy brush to do this. It gives me more control. And this technique here automatically straightens the nose. So doing that cream contour isn't always necessary, yeah? You want to highlight the cupid's bow, the chin, and the forehead area. Very light. Most of the products. At this point, you look at the eyes, see if there's anything to clean up. So I'm seeing some roughness here between the beginning of the eyes. You just want to pass a brush with no product on it and just blend it out. That's all. Highlighter is more of a goldish effect, whereas the bronzer has a more of a brown undertone. There are some palettes where there's highlighter and bronzer mixed together, and those brands are actually perfect together. But my preference, I do not like bronzer. by itself, especially for our types of skin. We already have a yellow undertone as Caribbean woman, and the bronzer is a bit too dark. What we look for is things that highlight our faces. So always go for a highlighter rather than a bronzer. My favorites in terms of brands is, I love the Maybelline, there's the Maybelline Chrome highlighter. The Juvia's is really good too. What one I really like? The Beauty Bakery, which I used today. That's all, you know. Oh, and the PH Cosmetics, but you don't really get that again. So we're just gonna finish up her eyes. Close your eyes for me. I'm gonna go back and do the wing for you all to see again one more time. I'm doing a short wing. So you outline the wing first, and then you fill in the inside. So you see the difference a wing makes? Well, not even a wing, but liner, the difference it makes. You take your time. Let me do it again for you to see. Pointing the direction of the tail of the brow. You bring it one straight line down to the end of the eye. Right? Going back up to the top. You are taking the outline as far as you can. From the corner, you are meeting it to where you stopped, right there. And then you're just filling in the inside. That's it. This is the LA Colors Matte Liquid Liner. I'm just going to do a waterline just to complete the eye area. Next side. So if you notice, I'm pulling down the waterline so the pencil itself doesn't touch the eyeball. Now, for sanitary purposes, ladies, this is my daughter. This is my personal pencil. But I don't use pencils anymore on clients because of the fact that we are going through a pandemic, and I see it as ways to transfer. So I don't use pencils anymore with regards to anywhere close to the eye area on clients. For personal use, yes, you can. But for other people, I would always recommend that you use gel liner and a disposable brush. And you clean it, and that's it. That way you wouldn't spread anything. Go back to the spot cleaning. Nobody wants to see. What is make her eye water? You get the water goes to the liner. Make her eye water. Really spray on it. No, setting spray. So you open your eyes too soon and your eyes smudge. That was my fault because I took over it. No, that's not. Right. So now to tone down the face and to seal it and lock it in place, close your eyes for me. I'm going to now set areas of her face. And I like to go back in with my powder brush and just, you know, pat in that setting spray in the areas. Thank you. All right. So let me show you all how I would clean, how I would spot clean. Let's don't forget to show us. Right, I'm going on right now. Getting some paper towel to show how to spot clean. The simplest way to spot clean your brushes. Because this is very important if you are doing multiple clients. Spot cleaning is one of the most important steps in order to practice cleanliness and sanitation. Sanitization. I have a piece of paper towel here. And I have my rubbing alcohol. Ensure it has for the least 70%. I'm spraying the brushes. Forget the fan in front of the face, you know. And right on the paper towel. You all see it? Just keep tapping. And the product comes off. Right? Doing the same with this brush. Then you tap some, spray some more. You can also spray it on the paper towel as well, like so. So any way that suits you. And just rub it on the area until most of the product comes off. Now, all the product will not come off right away, but just keep rubbing until it comes off on the paper towel. And it's that simple. Now there are various brush cleaners in terms of brands. So you can use brush cleaners as well. Ambrosia has a really good one. Image by Farron has one as well that's really good. And there are some other brands. 70%. So for Wednesday coming, we're going to be doing smoky eyeshadow. You're welcome, Lizanne. Wednesday coming, God's willing, we're going to be doing smoky eyeshadow. And you're going to need your brown tones, and you're going to also need a black eyeshadow. So if you have to still get your palettes, make sure that your palette has, and I'm talking about matte, black mattes, only black. Strictly blacks only, right? Strictly mattes only. So you make sure you have a transition, your brown and your black, to do the smoky look for Wednesday, God's willing. So I would not be taking any questions because it's already 5 o'clock. So any further questions, you could message me in my inbox and I will try my best to answer all of you in a timely manner. And I'll see you all on Wednesday, God's willing. Have a blessed evening, everybody.